The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Well, hey there. Welcome, all the notaries and signing agents from across the United States. Thank you so much for being here this evening. This is MGM, also known as Monday General Mentorship, brought to you by Notary Stars every Monday, except for holidays, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Today is Monday, June 10th, 2024, and if you're new here or just not quite sure who we are, Notary Stars is a notary and signing agent training platform. We train on just about everything under the sun, like notary basics and almost every type of loan file out there for the loan signing agent. I think we're up to 32 files right now. We train on the ins and outs of a remote online notarization, and we have the very best notary business marketing course that focuses on teaching you how to market your business rather than purchasing more components from other people. For everything else that we don't personally train on, we try to bring in the best and the brightest trainers for the topics that you're interested in. And if you've never trained with us before and are curious about how our training looks and feels, we're hosting an open house training on July 13th, that's Saturday, at 11 a.m., where we'll introduce you to one of our newest files. It's going to be a Veterans Assumption Loan Package. All you need to do is register to join at the link that Ronnie should be dropping in the chat here, or I'll pick it up here in just a minute. My name is Beth Hathood, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Mr. Ronnie Mickle, Mr. William Bumfrey, aka Mr. Bill, and one of our newest members, Kirsten Bly. We're all here to help you excel in your notary journey. Tonight's session is all about you, the nationwide notary community who are dedicated to signing agent excellence. After all, that's why you're here, isn't it? Because you're dedicated to perfecting your craft as a notary and a signing agent, and focused on learning more about our industry so you can not only be successful, but an asset to anyone who hires you. To help make this session more successful, please fire up those cameras. We want to see your beautiful faces. And if you have questions or want to share something with your fellow notaries, like a tip or a trick that you use in your business, no sweat. Just raise your virtual hand using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Or if you prefer, you can use keyboard combinations. Try Alt plus Y if you're on a PC, or Option plus Y if you're on Mac. One final thing before we get started. As always, keep your eye on the chat as the evening progresses, or in the description if you're watching the replay, for links to other important information. I think I'm done rattling on with my little speech, Mr. Ronnie. If you're ready to kick us off.
I am always ready to kick us off. And Miss Beth, from the notes that we have to share for the meeting, I cannot find the registration link. So if you wouldn't mind, while I'm going over some things, pulling that to the forefront and dropping it in the chat so that we can post it throughout the night. I understand that we're always, I know a lot of you tune in from all over the country, and some of you are Notary Stars, some of you are not Notary Stars, some of you are previous Notary Stars, some of you are getting your feet wet with Notary Stars. That chat that in the chat, please watch that as the night goes on, because we drop a lot of things that are beneficial to you and to other people that you can help and they can help you. Miss Beth is going to post that upcoming session in July. If you are on the fence about how we train here, there's not a person that's at Notary Stars, go in the chat and ask, that won't tell you that we don't train like really in depth so that you can do your job better, so that you truly understand the documents, you understand what needs to be executed, what you can and cannot say about them, what title and escrow and lenders are expecting from you. So I hope that you'll register with that. And so I think I see that posted in there. The next thing I want to say is please do turn on those cameras. It makes it a kind of a homecoming event for everybody every week so they can see faces. And it also helps us when we see you going, I don't agree with that, or, I question that. It really helps people, helps us kind of navigate the entire evening. I have to say thank you, and I just posted it in the chat, for nominating us as Influencers of the Year. Although my name is on it, I'm going to say this every single session. It is not just me. It is all of you, is all the people who contribute to Notary Stars. It's all of our instructors, all of the people behind the scenes that make this community what it is. And I promise you, I will not take that in vanity and make it about myself. We're all about dedication to signing agent excellence. We're going to have our clients vote. We're going to have you guys vote. We dropped it in the chat. I'd love for you guys to please vote for us. Now, you might have nominated us, but you still have to vote. A couple of announcements that we announced last week. I'm going to post this as a lot in the chat. We have a lot of new training on Notary Stars that I want you guys to be aware of, and I'm posting the modules. Now, if you're not a Notary Star, if you access it, it will say this is for our beautiful Notary Star members. But if you are a Notary Star, please take note of the chat of all of the new training that's on the site, any updated training that we have. We'll continue to do this on each session to make sure that you guys are aware of any training that might be updated. One thing that we brought is the difference between advanced healthcare directives and estate planning documents, so that you guys can kind of get your bearings when you're doing these. They are completely different things. Advanced healthcare is before you die. Estate planning is after you die. But you need to know the difference between those, and there's a lot of training going on around it. I do want to say this before we move on. If you are looking at adding estate planning to your repertoire, I believe in it. And we've brought on courses like, and I will get it wrong, somebody can correct me, but CT.
The NTDA.
Thank you. I believe in this, but I just need to make sure that everybody's aware. Number one, there's not a single attorney in this country. It is against the law in all states for them to pay you a commission. So when you're advertising this, you can only advertise your services as a notary, as a, doing trust signings. So they cannot pay you. In some states, like Arizona, companies can be what they call document preparers, and they can do that, and you can partner with them. However, you cannot sell someone estate planning and then turn around and be the notary on it. Okay, that's just not good business. It's not good practice as the notary, because now you have a financial vested interest in those people signing the documents. So where I believe it's a wonderful thing to add to your repertoire, every notary needs to know how to do trust signings and should do them, and should be able to have that conversation with attorneys. They should also be able to have that conversation, but understand the difference. If you haven't made that connection, I wrote a wonderful article on Notary Stars. You can go read that article or reach out to me direct at contact@notarystars.com if you need some guidance. We'll do even more education on it. I want you guys to continue to add things to your repertoire, but you need to make sure you understand what you're adding and how you're adding it, how it fits into your business in your state. So that means we have 50 different ways this could play out in based on the state. I did make on the last mentorship one last announcement. Your profiles are getting closer and closer to changing. We have brought in, and we send out every week on our newsletter, we've brought in a way for you to collectively show your reviews from Google, Yelp, Notary Stars, all those sources into one place. And we've also brought in a way for you to put your signings from SnapDoc, ZigSig, Signing Order, and now we're working with your accounting softwares. This is all about to come to fruition, but it's already working. And every week we put out that little button inside that newsletter every Monday morning that goes out. Learn more about me at Notary Stars. You can plug that into SnapDoc ZigSig signing order already. And I have to tell you, it will already start working for you, but you've got to take that initiative. And I will tell you, out of 10,000 notaries, there's about 300 people have watched the video. So I can only imagine only 300 have done it. It works for them. You got to make it work for you too. There is now a way, if someone's working on SnapDocs, to see what you've done on other platforms. You just have to take the initiative to put it all together. Our new model, which will be like a switch in the middle of the night for all the Notary Star levels, that's anything Notary Star and above. That's going to be like a switch in the middle of the night. That's going to be a huge deal. It's the first time in all notary history where everyone can see everything all at once, as long as you filled out your profile, put in the proper links, and it will calculate for you. I'm so excited about this. You're not going to hear me not talk about it any session we have. And I think that's all I have for now. So Miss Beth, I'm ready to start getting questions. But before you start with the sheet, if you have something that you want to share with a notary nationwide tonight, get those hands raised. We're going to start with some questions from the previously asked. Get your hands raised, and let's make this the most meaningful hour we spend together all week. Okay? Miss Beth, when you're ready, I would love to hear any questions that you have.
Well, we've got Carol's hand up already, so how about we start with Miss Carol?
Let's do it.
Okay,
There you go.
hi, there we go. I just have two things. And this may sound stupid, but do you send out a physical online, but a physical newsletter with a whole bunch of stuff in it? Because I have hit that on your on the website, and it says I already get it, but I do not get a physical newsletter.
I love that you're asking this, Miss Beth. Sorry to jump in on this question, but you may have unsubscribed at some point by accident or filtered it. If you send me an email at contact@notarystars.com, I will be glad to check and see if you've accidentally unsubscribed. For those of you who did not get an email before this meeting started and you're on Notary Stars, that means you're also missing any leads that come from Notary Stars. It is a one and done. You're either subscribed or not subscribed. We only send out the emails on Mondays. We don't do a lot of marketing. We're not trying to sell you a bunch of stuff. I know everybody, we try to respect inboxes because I'm a part of all the other camps too. And I'm just like, are you serious with all this marketing crap that you're sending me? It's just ridiculous. So we try not to do that here, where it's like every other day, buy this, buy that. So we do have our Monday get in. We're trying to have church here. But if you send me an email directly at contact and say, Ronnie, I'm not getting the emails, I'll go and research and see if you've accidentally unsubscribed. If you haven't, then it's probably something you filtered on your end that you're going to have to look for. But we've started an initiative trying to let people know, because out of 10,000, about 1,000 have unsubscribed from the emails, and they're getting leads, but they're not getting the leads because they've unsubscribed, because it comes from the same email address.
I get emails, but I'm just thinking, like, you know how the NNA sends out a bulletin. Is that the same kind of thing you do?
We do it every Monday, every Sunday evening or Monday morning, depending on how many emails are being sent.
No, I've never, ever got one then.
Okay.
If it's a bulletin type thing.
Yeah, if you send me an email and remind me, I will check on it, and we will make sure that you're subscribed.
Okay, and I just want to say one other thing. Somehow I've been Bank Serve's star in Bullhead City. I did 4 or 5 last week. I've done 1 already this week, and I just want to say they're wonderful. That's all.
Well, we're glad to hear that. You know, it's not every day we hear compliments about, you know, who we work with.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Oh, they're just they pay like that. They're wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. I'll try to clip this and send it over to them.
Okay. Thank you, John.
All righty, Mr. Butch, and I can't see his face. I see the ceiling, but I know he's there. Ah, there you are. Hi, Mr. Butch. You want to unmute and ask your question?
Beth, yes. I think it's a marketing question. Should I wait, Ronnie?
Let's hear it. But before we do, I just want to point out, because I love that your background, you usually use a virtual background, and I'm so proud of you because I need other people to see this, especially those who like don't turn on their camera sometimes because they're like a little afraid of their background. Mr. Butch came into this industry and he is so dedicated that he actually goes to the public library. This is kind of like his office. He goes back to the public library so that he can have a quiet place to work. And here's the thing. Got a great house, got a great wife, children running around, grandkids. But that's the thing, is it's a little distracting for him at times. And look at him, he's like, whoo, isn't it? And we love your grandchildren. I love when they pop on camera, but I love your dedication to coming to all these sessions, and you go to the public library so you can focus. So I just think this is a true testament to somebody who really cares about what they're doing. So now I'm ready to hear your marketing question.
Okay, Ronnie, on you did an episode on backlinks.
Mhm.
Can I ask you a short question about that?
Sure.
If I'm going to do a backlink with you, do I have to contact you? You know, I mean, do we have to have a conversation? Say, Ronnie, can you give me permission to go to your site and do a backlink? Is that the proper way to do that?
This is a wonderful marketing question, especially for those of you who are looking to grow your websites. Linking out to supporting information is one thing. It's very important to any content that you put on the website. So when you put something, you always want to find a supporting article like the National Notary Association, a news article, anything that you're writing about is going to help your website. Now, getting backlinks, meaning they backlink to you, there's really two ways you can do it. Let's say we publish an article on Notary Stars and you comment on it and say, yes, I implement this in my business, blah, blah, blah. If you're working in this area, check out my website. That's one way of getting a backlink, but is it the best? No, you actually want that source to kind of to agree to it. So with smaller businesses that aren't running bigger blogs, let's say other notaries from across the country, let's say you know people who do wedding officiant and you're not interested in that, having them link back to you is a conversation that you want to have with them. Like, hey, I'm going to put you on my resources page, or I'm going to refer business to you through my website because I don't do that. I'd like for you to find a way to do that for me as well. Very important conversations. And yes, a lot of times with smaller businesses, it requires you to have a conversation. And you should always ask for backlinks. If you're advertising someone else, unless it's like really, really important, you should always ask or find a way to get a backlink back. Does that answer your question, Mr. Butch?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I had to unmute for a second. Yeah, Ronnie, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. That was a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to sneak in somebody's back door and they think you were trying to rob them, right?
That's right, Miss Beth. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's also about checks and balances, Miss Beth. You know, kind of when you start linking out to too much, it's good because it's supporting information, especially if you're using references. But if no one's back linking to you, then you don't look as credible on the internet. So you need credible resources and credible websites to link back to you as well. You can start with your social media like Facebook, Google, you know, all of the places that we list, but that's not enough. You're going to need some endorsements from other notaries, other resources as well.
All righty. We have another hand in the audience. We do have a few questions though, Mr. Ronnie, from Jotform that was sent in throughout this week. So guys, if you don't know about Jotform, I think Ronnie posted it in the chat. Jotform is a way for you to access sending us questions for this session when you think about them. So I know that sometimes we close out a session on Monday and at 9 o'clock at night, you're going, oh, I should have asked blah, blah, blah. You can go right to that Jotform, type it in, we'll get it and address it the following Monday, unless it's urgent, then we'll probably call you or reply to it. But that way, as you think of questions during the week, you don't have to wait until we show up on Monday. Get it in paper on that jot form. Karma from Texas, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hey guys, hey Beth. So yeah, I actually have two questions. First one, so I've signed up for more than 200 signing services since December, and I've gotten a lot of signings through these two, but yet I only get sent from these two companies, Signature Closers, Notary Go. The question is, why am I not getting jobs from any other signing services? Like, I've signed up for hundreds of other companies, but these are the only two that I'm getting stuff from. I haven't been sent anything from SnapDocs or Signature Order or Signing Order or anything else. I've checked all my accounts. They all seem to be good and in good standings. They all seem to be active. Like, what am I not doing? How do I get signings from other signing services instead of just these two?
Miss Beth, I had actually answered this with Karma by email, and I actually just kind of want to read the response. I actually asked him to please bring it to General Mentorship because I know so many people have questions over this. Do you want to start and then me read what I wrote, or?
No, you take it away. I'm good with that.
Okay. So the first thing I'll say, this is not part of what I wrote, but different companies are going to have different amount of signings in your area. Okay. Some of you are going to be more busy on SnapDocs. Some of you are going to be busy on Signing Order because they already got the bulk of the business. Now I'm going to read you what I wrote Karma in response. And he has two really great questions that I hope that we'll continue along with. And my response to this was, this is a great question. Let me put it to you this way, as the age of the movie Wicked is upon us. If you know anything about the storyline, it's a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. One of their taglines are, "A lot happened before Dorothy dropped in." It's the same goes for signing agents. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and I had to sign up with hundreds of companies to really get this thing going. Once you put your name into everyone's hat, it may take a bit for them to start calling, but they will. We are still on the incline after a downturn, and most signing services work with refinances. Very few work with purchases and sales. So as we see purchases and sales go up, that's because we know the refinances are going to come. So I would keep putting my name in everyone's hat and not give up. There also may be some that only have one file a year in your area. There may be some that have 20. There may be some that have, 1,500 signings plus in your area. You have to put your name in everyone's hat. And for me, it's always worked this way. Signing Carolina sends me like one a month in Arizona. They send me one a month. And when I was out in the field, I would take that one a month. But then I would have another one like Notary Cloud send me 7. And then I would have another one like Unlimited Ink, which is me, have like 20. And then Amrock would send me 30. And then they all added up. But my name was in everyone's hat. And every time I worked with one, I acted like they called me, for the 50th, 500th file, being ready to give that service. It takes a lot of persistence and digging to get your name in all of those hats. And so my personal method was, when I woke up in the morning, if I didn't have signings on the table, I was entering whatever they needed me to into the filling out their contract, sending it back to them, going through a website like 123 Notary. We have all on Notary Stars now. Going through those websites and really putting my name in every single hat. I probably did that for about 2 years because as the phone started ringing, I made the stupid mistake, and I'm going to say this is me. This may not be your stupid mistake. I stopped signing up, and I realized that once the phone starts ringing, that one of the good ones can start getting slower again because sometimes they have busy moments, not busy moments. They take off a client and have to go get another one. When you're working with signing services, you really have to have your name in all the hats. And then side note to that, when you're ready, you should be walking in direct as well and getting that direct business. Eventually, signing services should only be filling in your calendar. Now, I know some of you live in areas where there's no title companies. You can't physically walk into them and market your services. And I understand that. So you may have to play on the air of signing services. So if that doesn't apply to you, but if you're in a busier city with title companies, you should be walking into those title companies and marketing your services. Mr. Karma, that was your first question. I'd love to hear that second question.
All right. So that second question was about a mistake. So I made a mistake on assigning with signature closers. I'm still getting jobs sent to me from them. But before, when I would click accept on one of the jobs, I got it like automatically. Now it says like, wait, you're not assigned yet. On the message, and I almost never get it. In fact, I haven't gotten it a job from them, assigning from them, since the mistake happened a couple of weeks ago. So my question is, how can I remedy this and get jobs from them again, or am I just screwed? Am I like under some sort of probation with them now?
Okay, I'm going to actually read verbatim what I wrote you back on this, because I think this is the best way to do it. This is another great question. There are two types of clients on signature closers. The first type is those who manage their own files. So look at the initial offer and who the title company was. If they manage themselves, the initial email offer should tell you either signature closers or their name. You can write who sent you the order and let them know that you are truly sorry and that you've taken your mistake into account, and assure them that it will never happen again. Let them know that their success is your success. If it's managed by signature closers, let them know the same. This may be a little, you may experience a little bar until you build up some more reviews. If they are still sending you signings, then you are not blacklisted. Amrock does exactly the same thing. If you make a mistake, they won't send you an order for 30, 60, or 90 days at all, which sucks, and why we should never put all of our eggs in one basket. I'd love for you to bring this up. Oh, sorry. That's me telling you to bring it up publicly, and I'm glad that you did. There is redemption for making a mistake, and there may be like a little slight bar. That particular company that has a lot of business in your area may have said, you know what, this was a big one for us. Let's still use this notary, but not give them the orders. You can come back from that. If you're still receiving the orders, they haven't thrown you away. Now you need to identify who you made the mistake with and let that party know, hey, I'm truly sorry and I'm growing as a notary, and I won't let that happen again. And most of us know, Mr. Karma, once we make that error, like those of us who care, like Notary Stars that are dedicated to signing agent excellence, once we make that error, it's really slim that we make it again. You know, we usually, I know I wish I could say her name. She was one of the original 8 at Unlimited Ink. I actually was standing next to her when she got her first error. She was a former loan officer, and we were marketing Unlimited Ink, and she got it while we were standing out on a walkway at a title company. And she literally, like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, like bent over and was like, I'm going to be sick. Because we take it so seriously. So they know, it's just sometimes they don't know that you know. You know what I mean? They don't know that you're taking it seriously. So they put you on like a little don't assign right away. And if you reach out to them, I'm pretty sure that could mend some bridges.
Yeah. To recap, because you wanted me to bring it up during this call. I actually, that day that I got your response, I reached out to both the company settlement, Summit Settlement Services, and Signature Closers, and I sent them similar messages but different. I wanted, of course, tailored to each individual. Apologizing for my mistake, telling them that, I understand what I did. And, I've identified the problem, so that I won't make that mistake in the future. And, just again, apologizing for the issue, and I hope to work with them again, yada yada. I actually heard back from both of them saying thank you. And one of them, Summit, said that they have never had a notary reach back out to them apologizing.
There you go.
Hallelujah!
So that was good. And I haven't received anything else, from signature closers yet, but this just happened, so I hope to get something back from them this week. But at least I got response back from my emails to both, saying thank you on the apology emails, and they both would like to continue working with me. So that works. I've also been going out to a lot of, as you know, title companies to get direct business as well. So yeah.
Good for you. And I'm very proud of you of taking that initiative. And here's the thing, you just taught us all something. A lot of people don't take that time to say, I'm sorry. And I really believe people hear, I'm sorry, especially when it comes after the fact. When you say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll fix it, and they're still leery about working with you, that I'm sorry 2 months later saying, hey, I took this into account. I'm really thinking about what happened here. I think that means something. And you said it best. You took it and wanted to make, like, I gave you a whole 2-paragraph email and kind of guided you, but you said I wanted to make this my own words.
Yeah.
And that's probably what they heard was your words.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say was and I was in title and escrow, Karma, and I know that saying I'm sorry, I'll fix it right away. You should be falling all over yourself to
That's
do
it.
that. That's only the first step. The second step is, did you learn anything from it? And that's where that second apology, that letter, that email, even a phone call, comes back and says, I'm really focused on this. I know what I did wrong and I've evaluated it. I've put in steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I hope that we can continue to work together in the future. That is brownie points. Okay, scout points to the max for you. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't, that big of a mistake. I mean, it was a mistake, but I tried to fix it right away. The woman, she signed on the wrong line. I should have caught it, but I guess just I had done this so many times with this type of signing that I got complacency or something, and I was just like, um, skipped over it, I guess. And I'm not going to let that ever happen again. I'm going to take my time, slow down, go through repeatedly to make sure that everything is right before I leave the signing. And yeah, when they called to let me know, like I went out like right then and there. I was like, I'm gonna call her, get this done, get this re-signed, and that's what I did. So
Yeah, good job. So we always teach at Notary Stars is your first check is actually watching them sign their name, making sure it's being placed correctly, even if it's upside down, right? And then when you take that page from them, you're turning it around, you're looking at it again. And that's your second check. You're turning it over in your stack of documents and you go through that in the whole package. That same 2-step check at the table. Third check is before you leave, and that's going through the entire package. And if your antenna is still up and you feel like I missed something, I know it, I just can't see it, then you're going to go to your car, pull around the corner, check it again in your car so that you're not too far away. You can go back and get that corrected.
Understood.
Miss
Thank you.
Beth, one little tip before we move on there, and thank you, Mr. Karma. When double checking your work, guys, I've been saying this for a while now, and a lot of notaries have told me that they really appreciate this advice. I always say, don't look for ink on the paper because technically we're always looking at ink, even if it's LaserJet. Our brain is registering that we're seeing, something on the paper all over it. You want to look for the action when you're double checking your work. When you see a signature line, say signature in your brain. When you see signature date, say signature and date in your brain. When you see a notary stamp that needs to be placed down, count your elements. Don't look for ink on the paper because there's already technically ink on the paper, even though I know it's toner burned in or whatever the science is behind that. When I trained my brain to double check that way, I made way less errors. And when I used to illegally train notaries, which I did because I didn't know any better back in the day, training other team members to take them to the table with me, which you should not do. And I didn't learn my lesson the hard way, but I learned that, and I would not do that now because of privacy laws. They used to laugh at me and say, "You're just doing that to make us better notaries because nobody can miss that many things." And I was like, "Yeah, actually, you can. Like, you can miss that many things at the table." And I wish I could capture that moment on camera. And I'll even tell you who it was. It was Laura Bellamy, one of the first original 8 of Unlimited Ink. I still have a wonderful relationship with her. One day we were leaving a signing, and she goes, "I know you just intentionally miss things so that you can show us that we have to double check our work." And I was like, "No, ma'am, I really don't. Like, I really miss those things during the signing, and you're sitting there watching me. It's not intentional. It really happens." Um, Before we go on to more hands raised, Miss Beth, there's one question that got carried over from last week for you that I really want to get in. Do you mind if I ask that one really quick? It seems like it's going to be a shorter one.
Sure.
This comes from Carrie M, and it says, when filling out your notary journal during a signing, would you fill out a space for each jurat and acknowledgement for a purchase or a seller's package?
That depends on your state. Strictly every state has their own specific regulations in regard to journaling. What has to be in your journal, what information has to be captured, and how it has to be captured. Even down to the point where, like California, you can't use ditto marks. Certain states you can't use abbreviations. So AKA or ACK or stuff like that, you can't use. So you need to know what your state regulations say. And that's about as specific as I can get with you on this one. What I am going to say is that whatever your state regulations do tell you, you can always do more. I'm one of those that is overly detailed in my journal, and my journal will have more than just Arizona's basic elements that are required, because I want to be able to 5 years from now stand up in front of that judge and say, "Oh no, he signed this one too. Oh no, he was given an oath on that one too. His initials are right there." So I do more things in my journal than what's required, because I've been in situations that I couldn't answer a question. So every time that happens, then I modify my journal, and that's what I do. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, Miss Beth. Now, before we go on to the raised hands, guys, I just want to let you know we got about 20 minutes left. There's 114 people on the call. If you have a question or something you want to contribute, please raise your hand. We're going to try to get to you. We still have plenty of questions from the jot form. We're going to try to go through all of them in the next 20 minutes. But if you have a question, now would be the time to get into queue. We're going to not try to keep you, an hour and a half like we did last week because we were coming back from break. So, Miss Beth, are you ready for the next question from the gallery?
You betcha. Ooh, Patty's arm is probably getting tired. How about Patty Carter? Would you like to unmute, Patty? Here you go.
Yes. I have a quick question. A while back, First American Signing Service had, I guess, a breach or whatever you want to call it. They were down. Y'all remember when they were down like for a week, or they were down a long time? All right. I'm a white glove notary. I've done hundreds of closings with them. But since that, I wanted to see, has anyone else got this problem? Since that happened, I mean, I think that was back in February. I've got 3 signings from them, and I was probably getting 10 a day and only taking 2 or 3. And I've only had 3 signings from First American, and I've actually emailed them, asked them, was there something wrong with my profile? And, during that problem that they had I lost something, and they've verified that I'm still white gloved. I don't have any errors. Everything is good. And I know that it's slow, but I have a girlfriend that she's a notary too. But she's let her commission expire. She's out of it for a while. She's having to take a year or something off. Well, they're calling her, and I'll be sitting right next to her, and they'll call and basically beg her. They'll say, "We really need a notary. We don't have anybody to do this. Could you do this today?" And my phone doesn't go off. So, I mean, does anybody else have that problem?
If anybody does, please put it in the chat. You know, if you're white glove with them, you know, I would say, is she live in your immediate area, or do you guys travel in to be together?
She lives within about 4 miles of me.
Okay, so in your immediate area, I would say that it could be some things, and I hate to say this, but I need to be honest here. It could be something with the service that you provided, and there could be a bad survey. So if you're worried about that, I would ask, you know, have there been any, you know, negative feedback that could be put on me or that sort of thing. Beth said it earlier, and we had a situation with a notary that um, they had received quite a few blacklists from others on signing order. They came to Notary Stars, and I gave them an opportunity, and I had to blacklist them this morning for a while till they learn their lesson. And you know, I had said you had 8 because I was one of them. I removed it. We sent you back out, and now you have 8 again based on this email, which I read to them. And I said, and they actually agreed. This is exactly what I did. And I was like, that's not what you do. And Beth said it, and I have to say this out loud. She goes, nobody likes to tell anybody when it's negative to their face because there's so much confrontation in the world today. And so you may want to just ask, you know, I'd like to, and you know, very similar to Mr. Karma, like ask in a very professional way, very short and concise. If there's anything I can do better, you know, I've been white glove, and I wouldn't say my friend's getting orders and I'm not. It could be that a specific escrow officer is asking for that person. That may not even be the issue. After their breach, they may be taking files slower in so that they're making sure that they're servicing their customers properly, that they're not going to have another data breach. They may be intentionally slowing down business. And then I've also learned, and you know, I don't know how close you are with this person, but they might tell you about one and say this happens all the time and it not be the truth, because a lot of people sometimes say I get tons of orders, and then that, you know, I hear them talking to other people going, I haven't heard anything in 10 months from this company. Sometimes people like to make people feel lesser, and that's just a fact. And I don't know that person. I don't know your dynamic with First American, but it would be worth, if in my mind, it would be worth it to say, you know, just inquire like, hey, I want to make sure I'm representing your company properly. Is there any way you can share my quality score with me, or do you have one? I don't know if they do. If they, and give me any feedback that I could make this better for you guys, because and here's how I'd spin it right now. I know the interest rates are going to drop in the future, and I want to be prepared to help you the best I can. Perfect timing right now to say that. And then I've always said, listen to other notaries complain, don't listen to them brag. Because in the complaints, you'll be able to fix their problems. When you hear them brag, we don't know if it's the truth.
True. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will do that.
I appreciate you letting me get all those words out. I know I'm very talkative, but I hope that helps.
Not as much as me. I talk a lot. Thanks.
Alrighty. That actually was pretty good advice, I would say. And I think you hit it on the nail on the head. Grace Fuller from Texas has her hand up. Grace, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, actually, I just had a statement to go with Mr. Karma. Yeah, I had the same kind of thing happen to me. I made a mistake, but I was actually doing a Ron on a platform I was not familiar with. And long story short, we kept getting disconnected, but this is where mentoring comes in handy. I called, she's not on here, but she's a Notary Star member, Anita, and she helped me out, and we needed the document signed this evening. Well, not this evening, but that evening. And it was 10:30 at night that Anita took over for me, and I called the sales representative, and I told them what happened, and they were okay with everything. They said, yeah, we just need a document signed this evening. I was like, okay. So I reached out to Anita, and Mr. David, for the Whirlwind Notary Public, he's a member too, and he does Ron pretty frequently. And those two people have saved my life. But
You're talking about David Merkatz.
yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. He saved my life. Let me tell you that.
He's
But
very dedicated to the notary community, guys. He's one of the
he
most brilliant
is.
raw notaries out there.
Yes, and so between Anita and David, they really helped me out. But you know what? What I did is I reached out to that company and I first of all told them, I called them that evening, they knew what happened. And the next morning I called the sales representative and I said, you know what, this was on me. I was not prepared with the platform. And I told them, you know, it won't happen again. And you know, the best thing they said to me was, you know what, Grace, we understand, we trust you. So I was just so happy to hear that from them. And they have still been sending me jobs. So that's a good sign. But you know, I agree. If you go ahead and just admit your mistake, because it was a mistake, and you know you're truthful with everything, I feel like these companies will understand. And I think that's the best thing you can do rather than trying to quote unquote hide it.
Well,
So
and you know what I am hearing, Grace, is that
uh-huh.
you were focused on the solution, not the
Yes, I really
problem,
was.
but
Yeah.
you were focused on the solution. And that's where we all need to be. Okay, yes, this happened, but
Mm-hmm.
wait, how do I fix this? I need to get past this now, and then I'll go back and worry about what actually happened. Good job.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I think when I came with them with the solution, they were more willing to keep, you know, me on because they were saying, hey, well, you know what, she came with a solution that works for us, rather than, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, help me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Good job. Really
yep,
good.
thank you, thank you.
Miss Beth, I know we have a guest in the house, and I've already made her co-host. Guys, we're gonna have about 10. We might go over 5 minutes. We're gonna get everybody's hand that's raised at this point. We have Miss Delora stopping by, and I'm gonna pin her up in just 1 second. But I also want to make this announcement. For those of you that are having a hard time making your company resumes, your lanyards, your business cards, we now have a dedicated rep, and it's affordable. We're talking a professional resume for $39.95. I think a lanyard for like $9 or $19. It's really inexpensive. It's someone who's dedicated to helping you get those printable marketing materials. That's Kirsten, who's also one of your instructors. This is all for her. I'm posting that link in the chat if you want to take a look at some of the mock-ups for what they'll look like. For those of you that don't have those walk-in professional materials, please make sure to check that link in the chat. I just posted it. It's printable marketing materials, bookmark it. Kirsten's standing by waiting to help you with those. And she's even got her own Notary Star email address. If you have questions, you can write her about them. Okay. Miss Beth, are we ready to pin up Miss Delora?
I am ready.
All right. I'm going to get her pinned up, I think. There we go. Hi, Miss Delora. Welcome back.
Hey, good to see you guys again.
Good to see you. Tell us what's new in the world of healthcare for notaries.
Anybody that needs health insurance for self-employed people or your families, since you're all in the notary business, there are health insurance plans out there for you, and I'm your girl. So if you need any help with any health insurance stuff, feel free to reach out. My services are free, so you can call and ask me questions or look for new plans. I'll help with whatever you need.
Thank you, Miss Delora. And then I just want to remind people why I every few weeks allow Miss Delora to pop in. When I was 21, I had bacterial meningitis. I was 2 days off of my father's insurance. I was told you need to get health insurance. You need to get a job with health insurance. You're going to be off your father's insurance. I got bacterial meningitis. I was one of 5 kids who lived. I spent 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks in a coma. I don't even remember. And I had to learn to walk and talk again. That ran up nearly just over a $500,000 bill. I had to file bankruptcy at 22 years old or 23. And then my credit was destroyed until I was in my 30s. I'm 43 now. That would be devastating as a business owner. You have to have some sort of health coverage. If you don't have a spouse covering you, please check out Miss Delora. She's on our website. She comes and posts in the chat. We invite her here. Something I feel very passionate in because, you know, just like my father had said, get health insurance, get health insurance. We are all one step off of a curve. of not being able to afford our own lives and having to start over again. And at my age and older, it gets even harder. Okay. Miss Beth, are we ready to continue on with the raised hands?
Yeah, I would just want to ask Delora if she would go ahead and post her contact information in the chat for us as well, so that everyone will have access to it later. If you guys know how to download and save the chat, she'll have her contact info in there for you. Okay, Jeremy, is your arm so tired you can't even bring it in? Go ahead and unmute Jeremy and ask your question.
Hey Beth, hi everybody. This was a scenario that I had, and I want to see if you could help me out with how to fix it for next time. It was Memorial Day weekend. After the weekend, I had the first signing on Tuesday at 9 a.m. I had it scheduled from the week before. The papers, the title company didn't give me the papers like until an hour later from the scheduled time. I kept in touch with the signer, so he was very, very nice, very positive. He drove from Texas for 20 hours, I think it was, so he was tired, but he was waiting for me. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. My printer didn't want to print. When I finally got everything printed, I got to him. I didn't have time to organize the papers because I wanted to get to him because I was already an hour behind. Signing took about 3.5 hours because he was a chatterbox and the realtor was there. So
Lucky you.
I know, right? So after that, my scanner didn't want to work. I literally tried everything and looked for the patience in my moment and tried to figure out a solution. And I didn't want to go to a public place, so I went to a friend's house to be able to scan everything to get it out in time. With the signing order company that assigned me the documents, they have a scheduled, email follow-up. Like after an hour, they start saying, okay, where are you? All the good stuff. And I try to respond as fast as I can. But when it's a scenario like this, that, even the title company is behind, it's you take everything so personal, you're getting frustrated and agitated. I kept my cool, everything went well, but still, everything that could go wrong went wrong. So my question is, how do I control the communication between the company that assigned me the product, the signing, and being able to troubleshoot everything? I did troubleshoot everything on my own. I answered my own questions, but how do I handle that extra email that I'm getting or text messages that I'm getting?
I gotta tell you, what state are you in, Jeremy?
Florida.
Florida. Okay, it could be the same thing, because in Arizona, we call those files snake bit. That means we don't get a fix now, it's gonna die, and it's gonna die on our watch. So those snake bit files really cause a lot of anxiety and stress. But it's a dance. You have to be able to respond to those emails and those texts and just let them know, I'm working on it. I've got a fix. It's just going to take a few minutes, but I need to focus here. I'll let you know as soon as I get X, Y, and Z done. And it's a dance. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
You just have to, it's a problem for them too. They know that the documents were late. They know it was an hour past due. You've already told them you had a chatterbox for a signer. It's a dance. Just figure out a way to placate everybody, apologize, tell them what's happening, be honest, and get it all done. Get that end result done as quick as you can. And when you get home, you're going to fall into bed and probably sleep for 3 days because it was such a traumatic situation.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did circles in the Chick-fil-A parking lot trying to figure out what scanner I could use.
Yeah. Well, hail the friend that saved the day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
All righty. Hey, we've got a couple of questions that have been hanging out on Jot form, and they are for our Mr. Bill, our online notary ROM trainer. He's got his camera off right now, so I hope he's close. There you go. Mr. Bill, 2 questions we have that actually I think one of them came in last week for you. So I want to make sure we don't miss getting that out there. One of them says, I'm in the process of searching RON platforms to work with. Should I purchase my new laptop that I will use to do RONs, or is it okay to proceed with applying to get my digital stamp and accept work using my current computer and then switch when the new laptop arrives? Or does it make any difference, Bill?
So, I mean, ideally, you want to have a dedicated computer for it. However, if you're in the process of getting the new computer, I wouldn't say that you have to cut yourself off from any kind of work. All of your stamp and your signature, all of those things, the digital certificate will be housed on the actual platform's website and not on your own. So, yeah, I mean, while it's ideal to have your own dedicated device, you don't absolutely have to do it, especially when you're getting started. I think you'd be safe
Okay.
to switch. You want to make sure, though, that anything that you download, especially if it's from a signing service or something, and Beth can speak to that as far as how long to keep things, you just don't want to keep it on your computer indefinitely, because that's when you can run into some issues. And make sure that if you're using a personal device or a device other than the one that's your dedicated device, even when you have your dedicated device, you want to be sure that you have it password protected so that nobody else in the household or in the family can access the computer or the documents in it.
So all of her credentials are housed on the platform and they're not on her computer. So she doesn't have to worry about that transfer.
Your digital signature, your digital stamp, the digital certificate, you have your digital certificate on your computer, but you basically upload it to those websites. And so it lives on their website, and you have to put in your password specific to that digital certificate. On some of them, it's every time you complete a file. Some of the sites you put it in when you upload the key and it just sits there, and you don't have to do it every single time. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, basically those are all housed on the platform. You're going to have a copy on your device, obviously, because you have to have it to get it to the platform. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's her part 2. If you're commissioned in 2 different states and are RONs in both states, does each RON need its own digital stamp? If so, do the platforms allow you to use both digital stamps on the same platform?
So I'm not duly commissioned, so I'm going to make an assumption here, but my assumption is, and I'm pretty sure that Beth would back me on this as well, that you are going to have a stamp if you're in Nevada, and you're going to have a different stamp when you're in Arizona. So yes, you are going to have 2 different stamps depending on which state you're in at the time and performing the remote notary. Now, as far as do the platforms allow you to have that, I don't know of any that allow you to have 2 different stamps uploaded and waiting. I would imagine you'd have to reach out to them directly to find out what the solution is. In some instances, it might be having 2 accounts. So having one, that's Beth1 at gmail.com and then a Beth2 at gmail.com, and you just have to keep it straight in your head. I do know there are some platforms, like one that I work on, where I have the option to upload every time my stamp. I suppose you could do something like that. I think it's a rarity, so I don't think a lot of platforms have taken that into consideration. But I know that all the ones I work on, you get 1 stamp and 1 signature uploaded.
Oh, okay. Good to know. I hope she's watching. I don't think she's here tonight. Let me look. LED. She is. I hope that answered your question, and you know who you are. I'm not going to say your name unless you want me to. One last question, Mr. Bill, since we have you on a roll. Oh, she says yes, and thank you, Bill and Beth. Okay, cool, right. This is from a different person. It's also a Ron question. However, it says, I know what the answer is going to be, but I'm going to let you answer this. What is a good e-notary platform for Michigan notaries?
So the answer that I'm sure Beth knows and that I'm going to say is it really depends. It depends on a number of factors. It depends on what's your business model. It depends on are the platforms allowed in your state? Certain states say only certain platforms are allowed. It will depend on a lot of factors. How many stamps are going to go into each document? And, it depends on your financial situation. How much are you willing to pay up front versus how much do you want to pay as you go along? There's a lot to consider when you're choosing the best one, because the best one for you is definitely not going to be the best one for me, and it's not going to be the best one for Ronnie or for Beth or anybody else, because we all have different models that we work. We have different clients. So you have to find the fit that's right for you. And if you come to class on Friday, we can discuss it more detail and kind of talk about this. Sounds like what would maybe be a good fit for you. So
there you go. There you go. LaDonna says thank you.
Miss Beth, before we move on, there's one other question that I had to step away for a phone call, but Jeremy earlier, Jeremy, I'm going to send you the request to unmute. I just want to ask you a quick question about your experience. And I had something, I was kind of doing a support call and doing this at the same time. Can I ask you if you were on an unlimited ink notary file?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm glad that I was able to chime back in on this. So Unlimited Ink models itself after MROC, and our automatic email goes off after 90 minutes. AMROC, I took all of their training, and I teach at Notary Stars before Beth took over that communication is key. And so when you see those emails going out, those are for the notaries that are not technically managing themselves. I have to say that. You should not take them personally, but communication is key. So like at that 90-minute mark, most signing services or AMROC or the bigger ones are going to expect that you have it done. If you don't have the file done, it's as simple as writing back and saying, hey, signer wasn't ready. This went wrong. Communication is key. And before the signing, communication is key. Anything that happens, AMROC did a training once, and it's not just Unlimited Ink or AMROC. It's all signing services. I remember the guy very well. And I think it was Andy Hoke at AMROC, if you guys know him. I know Miss Beth probably knows Andy from working with AMROC. But
yep.
They did a training, and I think he was the one, and it was the voice, and I'll never forget it. It goes, if something happens, what do you do? And it was like, we were all like, call AMROC. And by the end, the answer of the test was, what happens? Call AMROC. At Unlimited Ink, you can call, write, or text. We will appreciate any communication that you do. If it's going sideways, like my printer won't, like Shania Twain, the car won't start, it's falling apart, I was late for work and the boss got smart. If it all starts going downhill, pick up the phone, communicate that. I'm having a bad minute. Travis, my business partner, who I didn't sell, gave half of Unlimited Ink to become a business partner here, was perfect at that. He called me one time from the floorboard of his car. Ronnie, I'm at a signer, and I can't get out of the car. I'm having a panic attack. And he owns half of this company now. So I wanted to chime in on that because I heard it, and I'm sorry I was on a call, doing a support call for a signing table call at Unlimited Ink. But communication is key, and you will never regret how far that will go. And I'm sorry that things were going downhill for you. But don't take the automated emails personally, because we're way less harsh than AMROC at my company. And I knew when you were talking, it probably was us because we do have those automatic emails going off at a certain time. And if your day is going downhill, we can help you turn it back around.
Yeah, so I learned real quick that they're automated.
Mhm.
So I really don't take them personally, but it was me, it was my first buyer's packet, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
So trying to do my first buyer's packet, I was very focused on doing it right because I got used to doing my seller's packet. And this packet just came late. It was 3 times larger than I used to do. So it wasn't like I was flustered myself. But I did communicate like through text. I said, hey, I'm having problems with my scanner. I'm trying to find another solution. I did send certain messages throughout the signing.
Mhm.
I obviously didn't say the signer was a chatterbox and the realtor was there, but I did communicate here and there. I just wanted to see you just responded to the question because I know it's automated. It was just see if I could find a better way to solve my problem that I had that day.
Yeah, well, I can see, I just pulled up on another screen. I can see that you've done 4 with us in the last 30 days. So first of all, thank you for your service. I feel like it's like military service.
Yeah.
You've done 13 with me total, and I can tell you that you only have positive feedback. So my team really likes you. I think that's a great question for everybody to understand because unlimited ink is kind of harsh. We are just like Amrock. I modeled this entire company exactly, and Amrock, if you're listening, we'll take your files anytime you want to have them managed. But I think you're doing a great job. 13 files, perfect score, only great feedback. If you're a little worried about that, I just needed to bring that in there because they're automated and don't take them personal. They're just to keep things on track. And it's mostly for the notaries who don't know how to manage themselves. A lot of notaries don't know how to manage themselves, time or communication. From what I'm looking at on your profile, looks really good.
Thank you. Okay, great. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
That helps a
Mr.
lot.
Ronnie, we are running a bit over and we still have 2 hands up. Do we want to finish those up and then close this out?
Well, I will tell you that I know when we called time, Barbara had her hand up. Miss VJ, we love you. And I know you come to a lot of my lives. You can always email us or get on the live and I'll answer your question. We're going to end it with Barbara. And then I do have our outro screen. So I'd love to make Barbara our last one because VJ kind of put it up after we called time.
All righty, Barbara, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Let's see. Hello, everyone. I really appreciate the harshness actually, because it keeps me on my toes. So thank you for that. But I was just wondering how you would address, or I don't know if I did the right thing or whatever. So I guess you will like let me know. I had a signing about a week Friday. And the loan officer was really rude and nasty to me. And
Is this one of my files?
I beg your pardon?
Was this one of my files?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to hear about this.
Yeah, but the thing is that I did talk to a couple of the folks there, and they assured me that everything was okay. But I just figured that if I get on here, maybe I can get like more input because I felt like maybe I should have done something different. So, but anyway, what happened is number one, I wasn't late. I was on time, but could not find the place because the address that was given was behind the apartment, and then I couldn't contact the signer. I was calling and calling and calling, and they would never answer. I even left messages. So finally they called and like, oh, so they directed me. They came out and got me there. So then once I got there, then it was, they had something going on in their place, and it took like 15 or 20 minutes before we could even get started. So we were running behind on the signing, so that's fine. So to make a long story short, though, the husband's name was spelled incorrectly several ways on the document. So I said, well, let me call my signer to find out how they want me to proceed. And so they like, oh no, I'm going to call my loan officer or whatever. And so they called the loan officer. And so they were talking to the loan officer, and the loan officer was asking questions about the misspelled name. And so, and I didn't go from, I have to admit that I didn't go from page 1 to page 150. but I went through a lot of the pages and all of the pages was incorrect. So I said, well, the documents, most of what I looked at was incorrect. So the loan officer was like really nasty to me. She would, you know, I was on, they had me on, what do you call it? You know, where everybody can hear.
Speaker.
So, yeah, and so, and I was saying that, okay, well, I did go through the document and you know, he was rude. It's like, well, why don't you just be quiet and hear what I'm saying? I'm like, I just want to make sure that I do the right thing and make sure that the document gets signed and make sure that the clients, you know, we can move forward. Well, then he, you know, he was even more rude. And then he said something to the fact that you need to the client, tell your notary to shut the hell up and sit down and just be quiet. And I'm like, wait, number one, I said, okay, that's it. So I'm not going to be disrespected that way from anyone. Number one, I'm probably way older than him, but I'm not going to be disrespected. So I just said, take him off speaker because I can't deal with that. But I told the clients that I really want to make sure that we do what we need to do so that we can finish the assignment. So they did whatever they needed to do, but I did call in after the fact and I think I talked with Trevor and I talked with another, I can't remember the other young man's name. And so I said, I want to talk with you guys first before I call them because I just felt like that was so unprofessional and just disrespectful to not just me as a notary, but anybody. You don't.
No, you as a human being. What I'd like to know, is this your file from the 7th, the 5th, or the 30th? Because
they put the messages there. Trevor said that he was going to make sure that he write the notes, and he said that he was going to even speak with you about it. So I don't know if that had happened or not.
we don't have a Trevor on our team.
Is it not Trevor? Okay, maybe if you said the name,
We have Neil and AJ and Ken that are men.
I know Ken was one of the people. Ken was one of the people that I spoke with.
You've got 3 in the last week, but this is something that I'm actually going to clip this video and send it to. I won't even write an email. I'm going to send this to. It's only going to be one client, based out of different states.
Yeah, his name was Bill Nathan. I probably shouldn't say it, but anyway.
I don't have we don't go by first names anyway, but
yeah.
I want you to send me a direct email at ronnie@unlimitedinknotary.com and if you want to type it out, I've got it on video. We don't allow that to happen, nor do our clients. Our clients won't allow this to happen either. So I'm sorry that happened to you, but I will tell you, my client, and I know who you worked for. I know exactly, I pulled it up while you were talking. I know exactly how many files you've done for us in the last, 30, 60 days. In the last 30 days, you've done 6 files for us. I know exactly who the client is. I just need to know exactly what file it was, and I will take care of this. There's no reason for you to ever be talked to that way or treated that way. And I will tell you, I happily have not worked for companies that have talked to me that way. So I will make sure that this gets escalated because none of our clients will tolerate someone talking to a notary this way. I won't take clients that will allow that to happen. That did not come from Unlimited Ink. It did not come from our clients. It came from the loan officer, which unfortunately Title may have to have a good relationship for them, but we will definitely escalate this because it should not happen.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I just wanted to
There's
make
no
sure
such
that,
thing as getting
you know
someone
what
in
I'm
trouble.
saying, that because
If we don't
everybody have a
open our
bad
mouths,
day.
it'll continue to happen.
Mhm.
If Melissa Etheridge has a wonderful saying. She goes, refuse to hand it down and that legacy stops here. If we don't allow this to happen to us in the workplace, then it will stop happening to other people. We are not just vendors. We are pillars of society. And if we don't escalate it, and believe me, there's a lot of escrow officers who are women, who are also Black women, who would love to handle someone talking to someone like this. You don't get talked down to us, especially when we're out there busting our rear ends. I will take this to the higher ups at our company. And believe me, I'm looking at the client. You could have only worked with one client since the 30th. And I guarantee you they don't tolerate this.
Yeah. Yeah. It shouldn't happen. And it took everything that in me to continue to be professional to
Mhm.
get the job done because, it's just not cool. But I'm like, you know what? It's not even about him. It's about the client. And that's what I stayed focused on.
I'm proud of you for that, and I appreciate that. However, this will be known. This will not be the last time that it's heard. It will be heard by the right ears, because no one should have to go through that.
Okay, thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, and I appreciate you bringing that publicly. And that might seem like, oh yeah, sure, he doesn't really want that said. I absolutely want it said. I want everyone to hear, you don't have to tolerate this. In my marketing class, someone actually brought up in New York, there's actually a law now that's being passed about how you treat vendors and contractors. And I'm going to be looking for you guys to help me facilitate that in all states this coming year, because it's time for what we do for people to respect us, especially at the Notary Star level. All right, guys, I'm going to say that it's time at 6:18. We went over 18 minutes. I tried not to. If you could turn on your cameras, if you are not naked, if you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, please turn on those cameras for just a moment to say hello to your fellow notaries, to give them our signature wave. Let them know it's okay. Wave to yourself if you come back and watch the replay. Wave to the future notaries that are going to find us. Wave to those who couldn't make it here tonight with us. And Miss Beth, how do we really say it here at Notary Stars?
Everybody just remember that we're all in the same storm. We might not be in the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have canoes, some of us are just dog paddling. So please just remember, be kind. Reach back, grab that notary's hand next to you, show them the way. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.